of knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I would slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Good morning. Welcome to the show. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. I do appreciate it. I have with me Raul Reyes. He is an attorney and columnist in New York City, a third generation Mexican-American. He writes frequently on issues affecting the Latino community. Raul is a member of the board of contributors to USA Today, as well as contributor to the Today Show, Hardball, CNN, MSNBC, Current TV, HuffPost Live, BBC, NPR, and Fox News Radio. So he's a very busy and important man, and he is in support of Amnesty. Raul, good morning, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to you.
All right. Thank you so much for being with me.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you in support of Amnesty for the illegal aliens?
Well, I have to say that I support, this new bill that you mentioned that's come out. I'll say one thing that I think you and I agree with. As far as people I've talked to and different, lawmakers, nobody thinks it's perfect. There's nobody who's saying, "Oh, this is great." But for just in very broad terms, I think it's a good idea because it's better than what we have right now. It's a step in the right direction.
And what do we have right now?
Well, right now we have 11 million people. Now, 11 million people, that's about the size of Ohio. So right now we have 11 million people in this country without papers. We don't know where they live. We don't know who they are. We don't know anything about them, whether or not, they want to harm this country in some way, whether or not, say they have these, these crazy ideas, where they don't like this country, because these are all people who are working off the books and, living in the shadows. And, it's just not good for our national security that there's that many people in the country. We don't even, know the first thing about them. And so I think it'd be good for our national security to at least have them paying, all paying taxes and registered with the government, doing background checks on them, and that will strengthen the country. And at the same time, a lot of these families, maybe the parents did come here illegally, but in many of these families, they have children who they just brought with them. Now, and this problem, this problem with illegal immigration, it's been going on a long, long time. So what happens is these kids are growing up. And these are American kids. They're born here. Their parents came to the country illegally. But what are we going to do with these kids? Because they can't go back to Mexico or China or any place because they're born here. But
they could go back
in the middle.
They could go back with their parents, and it's their parents' fault that they brought them here, or that they came here illegally and had children. They could go right back to Mexico with their parents.
No, I agree with you that it is their parents' fault. Their parents did these things. But these kids who were born here and in the families of the undocumented people, something like 80% of their children are American-born. So their children are citizens, so they can't go back anywhere because their home is here.
Well, their home could be wherever their parents' home is. Let me ask, you think it's right that these people should come across the borders illegally, breaking the law, and then when they get here, we reward them with food stamp, free medical care, housing, free education, and then give them citizenship? And that's the right thing to do?
Well, you're covering a lot of ground there. I think I would describe myself, first of all, I would describe myself as an extreme law and order person. I think we need, all Americans, and in fact, I think all people in this country, whether or not you're a citizen, you need to respect the law. I mean, how we can't function as a nation unless everybody does that, all people at all levels of society. Now, we have a situation right now where this tremendous number of people are in the country unlawfully, correct? Right?
Yes.
So what are our options what are we going to do about it? Are we going to attempt to deport 11 million people?
Give me a yes or no first. Is it the right thing to do, to award lawbreakers?
Well, many of these people, they didn't break the law.
They did. When they came across the borders illegally, they broke the law. You would agree to that, right?
Not all of them did, sir.
No, those who came across the borders illegally broke the law. Let's agree to that at least.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes, sir.
Okay. Should we reward them with government support and free citizenship?
Well, we're not giving them government support in
terms
of
we
benefits,
take care of them.
Like food stamps and,
we do.
Health care. If you're undocumented, you're not eligible for any of those programs.
But they're getting it, sir.
No, well, maybe we disagree on that, but generally, I do a lot of work with, I have done, advocacy work and volunteer work with undocumented people, and one thing that they all have in common, and no matter where they're from or, what their age is or anything like that, is when you're living like that in this country, the last thing that you want to do is have any contact with the government, because then you're going to be deported or put in detention.
Raul, they're getting it through their children. They are getting it. I don't know why you're denying this.
No, I don't deny that their children might be getting certain benefits, but like I said, their children are citizens, so their children are as American as you and me.
Not really.
If you are undocumented, you are not eligible for all these different benefits, like this health care or all
Raul,
these
they're getting it.
Things
they're
like
getting it. Not being honest. Let me ask: does it bother you that these people are coming in and they're taking jobs from Black Americans? They're infringing on their communities. They're bringing in crimes. They're attacking Black Americans across the country. They are bringing in drugs, and in South Central LA, for example, Compton, California area, they're running blacks out of their own communities. They are overcrowding the schools in those areas. Does that bother you at all?
Well, I guess I don't see it the same way as you.
Does it bother you? Give me a yes or no first. Does it bother you that this is happening to Black citizens? It's hurting all of America, but especially Black Americans first and foremost. Does it bother you?
Well, I don't think it does bother me. No, if you're going to put it yes or no, because I see, for a Hispanic community and the African American community, they have many things in common.
No, they don't.
No, sir.
They have nothing in common.
What do you think are the issues, like the big issues facing African American community today?
Why is it that you are not bothered that these people are coming in and taking jobs and education and health care and running blacks out of their own community? Why is it that you don't care about that?
I care about all people. I care about all
you said
Americans.
You didn't care about that. It doesn't bother you.
I don't think that's happening.
It is happening.
Well, I think that when immigrants come to this country, and,
illegal aliens,
undocumented people are here, I don't think that they're,
wow, you said that you don't care
country.
about that. That's amazing. And I'm not surprised. I know that the Hispanic community could care less about Black Americans. Let me take a quick break. 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment.
The moon got lost again last night. It can't be wrong. Take the heart and make it strong. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest.
A couple of weeks ago, the game of eight, 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans, including Senator Marco Rubio, revealed an immigration reform bill. And they're supposed to beef up border security, with about 4.5 billion worth of drones, sensors, and Border Patrol agents. And this is leading to a pathway for amnesty for illegal aliens. In California, there are roughly 1,887,695 occupied by illegal alien workers. The source of that information is FAIR, Federation for American Immigration Reform. California has approximately 38 million residents. Compton, California, with a population of about 97,000, was predominantly black for many years. It is now 65% Latino and 33% black. As the black population ages, Hispanics are moving into black neighborhoods and in some cases attacking them and driving them out. I have with me Raul Reyes, and he's an attorney and columnist in New York City there, and he is a third-generational Mexican-Americans. And I asked, did it bother him? Did he care that illegal aliens are coming into this country and really hurting blacks first and foremost? He said no. He's not bothered by that. He can care less. And I absolutely appreciate his honesty about that, because most people would not admit that out loud, even though I've been saying that for the last 23 years now, that these people can care less about black Americans, including the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, Jesse Jackson, all those guys. They don't care about blacks either. This is why I've been trying to wake up black Americans. They got to start looking out for themselves, because America does not care about black Americans, because black people have not demonstrated that they care about themselves. Raul, you don't want, and then we'll take some calls here, you don't want to even call these illegal aliens, do you?
Well, I usually use the term undocumented.
And why is that?
Well, because I guess I don't believe that any person, I don't believe that a person can be illegal. I think there can be illegal activity. You know, someone can do something wrong, but I don't think I like to respect. You know, I believe that for me, you know, my point of view is to respect the humanity of all people. So I don't think it's a good thing to term someone illegal when, for example, look at it this way. There are many, many people, you know, in public life, from politicians to celebrities, who have broken the law. Like Martha Stewart went to prison, but nobody ever calls her illegal.
Because she's not here. She didn't cross the borders illegally, man. You are an attorney.
She had a felony
You're an
conviction,
attorney, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you should know the law. If someone comes across the borders through the back door illegally, why wouldn't you want to call it what it is? Why do you want to? Is it because you want to cover up the reality of what it is and try to give it more of an emotional, human identity?
Well, when someone comes to this country illegally, correct, you know, they have committed an illegal, that's an illegal action. But I don't believe in calling a person illegal because, you know, as you mentioned, you know, just with my legal background, only one person can actually determine whether someone's in the country illegally, and that's a judge. Now,
that's not true.
Think of it
I
this
can
way.
determine that for myself. I don't need a judge to tell me someone coming into my country illegally is illegal. I don't need a judge to tell me that. How dumb is that?
Well, I understand your point of view, but just hear me out here. Okay, now think of it this way. Say if a person goes out and steals a car, or if a person goes out and holds up a supermarket, you and I could be there right there and see them do it. But that person is not guilty until they've had their day in court. You know, that's our justice system. And then a judge decides that, you know, they did this act. And, you know, if someone is in the country even without papers, even a policeman can't say that they're here illegally. They can arrest them. They can put them in detention, but only an immigration judge can decide that.
That's
so
dumb. I understand you're saying
that's our criminal justice system.
I understand you're saying when they go to court, a judge does deem them illegal, but common sense dictates. I don't need a judge. I don't need my mama. I don't need anyone else telling me what is legal or illegal. I know, and I can think for myself. Let's go down to Lakeland, Florida, and talk to Clifford. Clifford, you're on with Raul Reyes.
Hey, good morning. Hey, thanks for taking my call. Just wanted to ask you a question. A little contradiction. You said
Clifford,
that...
we're having some problem. Are you on your cell phone?
Yeah, I am.
There's like a what? Call again. Hang up and call us back. We'll take you first, all right? Because there's some problem with your phone.
How's that?
No, it's still messed up. Just call us right back. We'll take you.
All right, bro.
Okay. Clifford phone's messed up. That's the problem with cell phones at time. Raul, does it bother you that, I already know the answer. You said no, you're not bothered that illegal aliens are taking jobs from blacks and affecting their communities and health care. But in Compton, California, there's a population of about 97,000, and it was predominantly black for many years. Now, it is now 65% Latino, and that's why you don't care that these people are coming and taking over, because the more Mexicans we can get over here, the more political clout for the Hispanic community, right?
Well, I think politically that the African American community and Hispanics have much in common.
We don't have anything in common with illegal aliens.
Well, not all Hispanics are undocumented.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the illegal alien. I'm not talking about the citizens, Hispanic community.
Just undocumented people. But,
yes, the illegal aliens.
But this is something, how do we know that, I grew up in Southern California, so I remember, like, as you said, when I used to go to South Central, it was predominantly African American. And now when I go there, I see, like the Spanish stores, a lot of Latino churches, so I see the change myself. But that just the change in the area. It's not necessarily all undocumented immigrants.
No, they're running blacks out. The police department sent out a warning to black Americans to watch their backs because they are under attack by the Hispanics, gang members for sure. They're killing blacks at bus stops. There are fights every day in the public school system. So it is bad. Clifford, are you back?
Yeah, is that better?
That's better, yes.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment, the little contradiction. He said he's an extreme, and I quote, "I'm an extreme law-abiding citizen." So why don't you advocate the laws that's already on the book? And another comment is, in my opinion, you are just another Mexican Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. And my other comment is, just by changing the name of poop, it doesn't matter. It's still poop at the end of the day.
Hold on. Let me take a quick break here. I'll let Raul respond to you, Clifford, right after this break.
I worry, I throw my fear around. But this morning, there's a calm I can't explain.
Talking about this amnesty bill that the so-called gang of 8, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, including Marco Rubio, they're considering giving illegal aliens a free path in this country, even though they broke the law to get here. One gruesome case was the murder of 17-year-old school football star Jamil Shaw. Shaw was shot and killed in 2008 execution style by a 23-year-old Pedro Esperanza, a member of the notorious 18th Street gang here in Los Angeles. Esperanza is an illegal alien who had been released from jail just hours before the shooting. Last fall, a Los Angeles jury found Esperanza guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced him to death. Hallelujah. And this Jamil Shaw was shot dead 2 or 3 doors down from his home. He was on his way back home, and this illegal alien shot him just because he had nothing else to do. He was trying to prove himself, and Jamil was black. I have with me Raul Reyes, who says, you know, it doesn't bother him that black people are being affected by illegal aliens. No deal. No big deal to him. Raul is an attorney and columnist out of New York City there, and he writes for the Huffington Post, Current TV,
Wow.
BBC, NPR, Fox News Radio. Raul, how do you respond to Clifford from Lakeland, Florida?
Well, you know, what I mentioned to you when we were first talking about the bill is we have all these people who are here. We don't even know who they are, and they're living here, you know, totally without documentation. I think we need to get those people right by the law. And, you know, this horrible story that you just mentioned where this young man was killed and totally senseless.
Jamil
Shaw. That's a horrible story. You know,
it's happening every day, Raul.
And people like that, you know, these gangsters, these who are committing these acts, those people, they should be behind bars.
Would you agree, though, Raul, that if our laws was enforced, it's already on the books, that for a great percentage of this stuff probably wouldn't even be happening? I mean, you say you're a law-abiding citizen, and we already have laws on the book for this kind of stuff. Why aren't you advocating that?
Well, I do think that, for example, the government, the administration we have now, they've done have tremendous strides in immigration enforcement, and all for proof of that, they've deported more people than any administration in history. But they can't round up. They don't, no matter what they do, no matter how much money they had, there's no way that they can go after 11 million people. And among those 11 million people are these gang members and drug traffickers.
Some people are predicting that there are more than 11 million, could be possibly up to 20 million illegal aliens in our country.
Yes.
So there's a possibility there's more than 11 or 12 million.
And
I do want to say that Raul has the same aura about himself as Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, trying to make your people seem like they're victims when that's so far from the truth.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with that. I really do.
I do too. Thank you, Clifford. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Raul, are you in support of putting a fence around the borders along with military and shutting down the borders and then clean up the mess within?
Yes. Well, we have the fence now, but I think we need to strengthen it.
Yeah.
We don't have it everywhere.
Well, it should be everywhere, right?
Yeah, like it doesn't, when people talk about the border fence, it's not a complete border fence because, like, it goes and then in certain places it just stops. And that's part of why we have this problem. I mean, what good is building a wall when you're only building really half a wall?
And do you also agree that if we didn't take care of these illegal aliens by giving them jobs, we should punish companies that give them jobs? If we didn't give them jobs, then they would self-deport. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think that's really been happening. But one thing that's been happening...
It hasn't been happening because we're taking care of these illegal aliens. If we didn't take care of them, if we didn't give them jobs, they would go back home naturally.
Well, I don't really think that's been happening so much.
It has not been happening, but it would happen if we didn't take care of them.
Oh, well, one thing that has been happening is that lately...
Stay with me first. If we didn't give them jobs, if we didn't give them government support like food stamps and houses and free education, wouldn't they self-deport?
Well, I don't think that we are giving them houses.
We are doing that, Raul. Come out, either you're lying or you're just in denial. If we didn't do that for them, would they self-deport?
Well, you think the government's giving them houses, right? But even if we didn't do that, I think most of the undocumented people are, they're among us. They're established here, so I don't think they're going to go back anywhere.
Raul, will you stay for one more segment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 888-775-3773. I'm urging you to call your representatives and say no to amnesty for illegal aliens. No more amnesty for illegal aliens. We need to ship these folks back. According to the state demographic California Hispanic population will equal that of whites within 6 months and exceeded by early next year. Population projection released on January 31st by the State Department of Finance shows that Hispanics will become the dominant ethnic group in California for the first time. The U.S. Census Bureau figure released in March of 2011 shows that over the last decade, the percentage of Latinos has approached parity with non-Hispanic whites, 37.6% to 40.1%, with Asian 12.8% and blacks at 5.8%. Percentage. It's awful that black Americans have turned their lives over to the so-called black leadership, and now everybody is using them for their own personal gain, and blacks are losing power day by day, but they're so dumbed down, not all but most, that they feel helpless to this situation. Even Raul, my guest here, tried to indicate that, well, blacks and the Hispanics have something in common. No, we don't. California grew by 3.4 million in the last decade, a rate that was on par with the national average. So the Hispanics are taking over even the white population. And for years, these people have been fighting, quote unquote, to take back California. They say it belonged to the Mexicans. And if this continues to go down like this, just in sheer numbers, they will take back California and Texas and the rest of the country if we don't shut our borders and get these folks to go back home. Raul is with me, and he is an attorney and columnist in New York City, a third generation of Mexican American. And Raul, what's your website? Do you like to give out a website or anything?
Oh, my own website is RaulReyes.com. Yeah.
I have to say, if Marco Rubio and any other Republican support amnesty for illegals, they lose my vote right away. I would not vote for anyone who support amnesty for illegal aliens while watching black people suffer in the area of employment, housing, health care, education. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, one thing about the bill is that I think I'm guessing we have a difference of opinion here, but I don't see it as amnesty because to me it's earned citizenship because it costs at least $2,000 plus another $800 plus a background check plus the all your back taxes. So, generally, like I remember when I was a kid and I had an overdue library book, if you had it forever, and once a year the library had what they called the Amnesty Day, and you could just leave the book there, no questions asked, and you just walked away. Nothing. That was amnesty to me. So this thing, there's a lot of punitive, there's a lot of fines, there's a lot of fees. They are being punished for breaking the law, as you've mentioned a few times. So I don't see it as necessarily amnesty.
If so, are you married, Raul?
Mm-hmm.
You're married. You have children.
Mm-mm.
But you're married.
Yes, sir.
If someone broke in the back door of your home, they raped your wife, they stole your stuff, and they stole your stuff from your home, and that person or those people were caught, would you just want them to return everything they stole and then forget about it?
Well, that's a big hypothetical. I think I would want to see if anything like that happened. I think I would want to see that along with the justice system punishing them in whatever way they decided.
And in whatever way they decide. So if they decided just to give them, if the justice system decided to just to get them amnesty, you would be okay with that?
Well, I might not be okay with it, but I don't make the law. It's a judge and the jury and whoever might decide that.
So you just would accept it?
Well, I'm not a lawmaker. I mean, I'm just a private citizen.
Did you come here illegally?
No, sir.
You were born here?
Yes, sir.
You were born here. How do you feel about these people wanting to come here and the Mexicans believe that California belongs to them because the white man took California and Texas away from them? And how do you feel about them coming in like this with the intent to take, quote unquote, take back California and Texas? Is that good news for you?
Well, that's a huge misconception because I promised you this, sir. And I generally don't like to speak for the whole community. I just speak for myself. But on this thing, I can promise you, Mexicans, Mexican Americans, immigrants, undocumented immigrants, none of those people, Latinos, Hispanics, nobody wants to take back California or any other state from Mexico.
Raul, you're not an honest man. They have been on college campuses around California or around Texas. They have been chanting that for the last 23 years that I've been aware of. So you're not a very honest man.
Well, I just have to disagree with you there. And think of it this way. 11, these millions of people, they're here because they wanted to put it very bluntly, to escape Mexico. Because in Mexico, there's very limited opportunities. Because in Mexico, they couldn't even provide for their families. Because in Mexico,
so then why
the
don't
police
they
system is
stand
so
up?
very corrupt.
Why don't they
why
stand
would they
up?
want to take these states and make them part of Mexico? They love the United States. They want to be Americans, and that's what's at the heart of our reform bill.
Why don't they come through the front door? Why didn't they come through the front door like everybody else have to?
Because for the overwhelming majority of people, there is no front door. Because, for example, for Mexico, the United States, unless you're someone... Yes, sir.
You know what's interesting? You are an attorney, right?
Yes, sir.
But yet you don't believe in upholding the law. How can that be? What law school? Where did you graduate from?
Columbia.
Did they teach you as a lawyer not to uphold the law?
No.
But then why are you justifying lawbreakers?
Well, I think that I like to look at reality. And
why are you justifying lawbreaking?
I'm not justifying lawbreaking, but I think we need to improve our country. And I think one of the great ways we can do that is to move past this issue, deal with all these people, strengthen our border, and fix this problem. When this country has many other problems, we need to move on.
Right. We need to ship the illegals back. Raul, thank you so much for being with me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy.